Ta-da!
Are we here? Is it working? Can people hear me? Okay, perfect. Great. Now we'll see how long it takes for everybody to hate me, as MWA's voted most controversial. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Godzilla Minus WON. But that's one with the W-O-N, because now we are talking about an Academy Award-winning film for its special effects. So, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Great.
Blessed by the best. Excited to celebrate Godzilla's Oscar win.
Now, before we get into the Oscar win, it's also important to note that Godzilla Minus WON also swept the Japanese Academy Awards. Now, that's not necessarily the same as the Oscars, but it is the Japanese equivalent. And Godzilla historically has not really done a lot at the Japanese Academy Awards outside of more like achievement awards. However, with Shin Godzilla, we started to see a bit of a difference there. Shin Godzilla was nominated for 11 awards, and it won, I want to say it was 8. I'm going to confirm that real quick.
7, I heard.
Was it 7? I know.
I heard 7 they won.
Yes, it was 7, and then they were nominated for 11. Now, Minus WON was nominated for 12. So, Minus WON is now the most nominated Godzilla film for the Japanese Academy Awards. And out of those 12, it won 8. That included Best Picture, Best Sound, Best Art Design, Best Supporting Actress, Sakura Ando, which she also won Best Actress for her other film, Monster. She beat Minami Hamabe, who was nominated for Minus WON. However, Yamazaki did not win Best Director at the Japanese Academy Awards. That went to the director of Perfect Days, which... Fun fact, this is the first time a non-Japanese director has won Best Director at the Japanese Academy Awards. That film also got nominated for Best International Film, but it lost to Zone of Interest, I believe, was the title of the film that actually won at the Academy Awards, the Oscars. But Minus WON swept the Japanese Academy Awards, and its last big hurdle was the Oscars, which I'm sure everybody watching, you all knew this. March 10th at 6 p.m., the Oscars kicked off, and about halfway through the show, we had the twins come on, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mr. Danny DeVito.
Yes.
Which, first, we need to talk about that. That is the perfect... lineup.
Oh, it was. I just have to say, like, their chemistry with each other, and then bringing in Michael Keaton, like, that whole thing fits so good. Like, yeah, that's great.
You threw me out a window.
How did he beat you? Oh, he used my greatest weakness. What do you say? Eat? He goes, no, love. Oh, you threw me out a window.
That threw me out a window. That was great. That was hilarious. It absolutely was.
And then Michael Keaton, like,
very good.
Yeah. He was all serious Batman type stuff. He was just like, bring it.
And just a big fat fuck you to those guys. Just, I'm Batman.
Dang, Godzilla.
Well, I mean, Schwarzenegger's Batman wasn't there, so.
Now,
crazy.
Minus WON was up against the following films. It was up against Gareth Edwards, who directed, of course, 2014's Godzilla and 2010's Monster, the creator, which had a budget of $80 million. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which had a budget upwards to about $250 million. Ridley Scott's Napoleon, which I believe had a budget of 160 to 180 million, if I remember correctly. And there was one more.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, that is now just Dead Reckoning, which had a budget of 190 million, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say almost closer to 100.
Minus One, which has a budget of roughly 10.5 million, roughly.
Dreams.
I heard 12.
Yeah, I heard 12 too.
I
heard 12 too.
13, somewhere around there, 12 or 13 million.
So I've heard that. I mean, we all know the 15 million is wrong. Thank God,
Yes,
people are starting to
absolutely.
finally tell people that's wrong. But I've heard it's anywhere between 8 and 10.
From who?
That would be from Japanese sources that give a rough estimate.
Dang.
Because I want to say it was like 13 or 14 or it was 15 where he said, I wish it was that much. It was a lot lower than that.
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't it Yamazaki himself said that
Yes.
he wished it was 15?
Yeah.
With a team of, I want to say it was 35 artists.
35, yep.
All done at Shirogumi, a studio that Yamazaki is one of the higher ups in. He also personally worked on the VFX, which another important thing about this, Yamazaki is the first director to be nominated and win for the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects since 1960.
Oh, you muted yourself, Elijah.
Muted. So who wants to take over?
It looks like Elijah's
back.
having some.
Say something, Elijah.
No. Speak.
Elijah, speak.
Not before.
Use your words. You learned this in preschool.
All right,
No,
so it
no,
looks like
no,
Elijah's
no.
having some technical difficulties.
Are you good? Says that you're unmuted.
Yeah, your little muted and unmuted symbol keeps popping on and off next to your name.
Yeah.
I can't pick up. I don't know what he was about to say.
So he was talking about how Godzilla Minus WON had 35 artists working for the film. I think that's important because, in contrast, Hollywood studios have literally hundreds of visual effects artists working for each film, and on top of that, they have these overinflated budgets, which I don't know. Maybe we could park there for a minute while Elijah figures out his technological difficulties. I hope Hollywood learned something from this. I think that the fact that the movie looked so good on such a small budget, literally a tenth of what some of these films were costing, or more, a 20th in some cases, right, of what this some of its competition was, and that it won. I think the fact that it was made for so cheap is actually why it won. And
I think they respected them for that.
yeah, absolutely. And I know I'm interested to know what your guys' opinions are on this. So I know there's been some people that have talked smack, if you will, about the Japanese industry, and that it's like sweatshop conditions and slave labor and other certain terminology that's been floated around. What is your guys' opinions on that? Do you agree with that, or do you think it's just a cultural difference and they don't have these overinflated budgets due to unions and so and so has to make this much, et cetera, et cetera? Adrian, why don't you?
I think it definitely is probably you do have a point. I think it is due to the culture of it, because like you said, here in the United States, we have to have so many people on one certain project, and they have to get paid so much money where that's really what the focus on whenever they're trying to do a project, instead of just trying to get the best of the best people to do what they need to do to collaborate to make the best product they need when it comes to the film they're making.
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I just don't think that we understand them as a culture as much as we think. We are completely different than them in a lot of aspects, in a lot of ways. They just do everything a lot differently. But honestly, they probably take care of their workers probably even better than we do over here. Honestly, with all of these extra things that have to do with maybe sick leave or maternity leave or getting people out and stretching or extra long breaks or whatever, I've heard of companies bringing in like either animals or whatever to boost mental morale and stuff like that. Like, all these different kind of things that they do over there. That, I mean, we could probably take a page out of their book and really help us over here. Just because, we might think, it's great over here, but honestly, it's not always that good. I mean, our unemployment rate is still high and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously there's still issues. But yeah, I just don't think we understand them fully and what they do and stuff like that. I think a lot of us are quick to say, so I mean, some people are easy to judge right off the bat, and they immediately think this way and stuff. So I just think it's unfair stereotype, I think. But yeah, I don't, unless there's like solid proof, a lot of evidence, brought to light. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much I can really believe it and stuff like that. I still think that they take care of their citizens very well.
Right on. Oscar?
Yeah, it's like, Adrian and Eric, like both of y'all said, like, yeah, like pretty much I 100% agree with you guys. Like Hollywood or us in the US, like really need to learn from this, learn from this achievement, and of course learn from the other cultures, other productions, how they take care of their workers and everyone, mentally and physically, like they really did it, it's like very, very different, from here and over there, anywhere, in any other countries. Like I pretty much just like nothing else to say, but like pretty much I try and avoid all the negative stuff, that involves anything in the world. I look past that and I look at the lighter stuff, the good things, I pretty much like, yeah, like pretty much we just got to learn from them, or any other countries or any other people or producers or whatever, work wise or being healthy wise, etc. So yeah, I mean, pretty much just me. Yeah.
All right, Samson.
Eric pretty much nailed every damn point, so it's kind of hard for me to compete with that. But what he said towards the end of his speech there that I liked was stereotyping. There is a lot of stereotyping in the world, and that goes into effect with the whole like Asian culture and sweatshops and just that kind of whole stupid shtick. But the proof is there with this film now that it does not have to be a gigantic multi-million-dollar situation to make something good. And also, I mean, these great folks, we don't understand them as well. Again, it's hard for me to come up with my own words because Eric, and damn you always have the best things to say. But their culture is different from ours. So unless we're right there in their face and have a better understanding of it, we don't truly know. We're not behind the scenes, but again, the movie's there and we all know it now.
Yeah. That's kind of my opinion too. I saw a lot of those comments in those accusations thrown around like everybody else did. But the fact of the matter is, I don't live in Japan. I don't know if that's true. I don't work in Japan. I have no idea. And I hope that's not the case. Obviously, I hope that they do have as good of working conditions as possible and everything of that nature. However, I'm also going to say this, and this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't really care. You need to also be aware of who's writing these pieces. If an article comes out, and I did see a couple of them, where it was like, should the titles were like, should Hollywood learn from Japan because of Godzilla, or should Japan learn from Hollywood? And it's like, I think it's important to know who's writing these articles and these pieces, because if it's Collider or Movie Pilot or Cinema Blend or The Atlantic or whoever, and they're union based, they're obviously going to have a union slant and think that anything non-union is bad, which if Minus One was made with non-union, of course they're not going to want the narrative to turn into, oh, well, you can make it cheaper without unions, or you can make it cheaper by not having to have these laws or these rules where a certain amount of people have to be doing this, or a certain amount of break time, or you can only work a certain amount in a day. And I'm not saying that companies should be allowed to work you 24 hours a day. I don't mean that at all. But I think it's important to know who's writing this stuff, and maybe who their backers are, or maybe who they're in bed with, so to speak. Because I think that I think that's important.
And just quickly, I just want to say, like, also too, I think a lot of this stuff is thrown out there just to get noticed and just people talking.
Absolutely.
Because
yeah.
they know that kind of stuff draws readers, it draws audiences, it draws questions, and the media is known for that. I mean, that's their greatest weapon, is to cause that kind of stuff, or cause a stir up or everything like that, for people to start talking about them.
Right.
So, like, I think a lot of, like you said, a lot of stuff is just kind of, is it a reliable source? Is it somebody who has done this kind of stuff before, where they kind of say this kind of stuff that's kind of outlandish and everything? So, yeah, it's definitely, I don't know, it's kind of a trap, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, look at how many times a headline will say something, and then you actually read the article, and it completely contradicts what's in the headline. The headline was totally there just for a clickbait, right?
Clickbait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it is.
So I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm not. I don't care about Oscars or Emmys or Grammys. I think it's all. I think it's all political. I think it's all. They vote on who's the favorite. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they actually give it to the person who has the most skill or the most talent. So, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that Godzilla won an Oscar. I think it's much deserved for the franchise and as a whole. But I couldn't care less about Hollywood in general. Most of their movies I don't even really like anymore, to be honest. So I'm happy that a non-Hollywood film won. I actually think that it won in the wrong category. I think it should have won in Best Movie, but unfortunately it couldn't have been nominated in that category. I think that don't get me wrong, I think that for the budget that it had, it should have won Best Visual Effects, but I think that overall it should have won Best Film.
Yeah, like you said, other categories, best film or foreign film, or heck, even like best say leading actor or actress, or supporting actress, supporting character,
Yeah.
Like, more.
And I mean, that's all. To get off the Hollywood bashing, I don't mean to get on that, but how awesome was it to hear Akira Ifukube's themes up on when?
Oh my God!
Just like things you never thought you would see in the opening montage of the Oscars. Godzilla's roaring, and you know what I mean. Just the name Godzilla to be mentioned in a serious way, in an award show, without it being like a joke or something that the host is doing, but in an actual serious way. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I was telling my wife this, that like, man, I just don't think you get it. Like, having grown up as we all have, a fan of this, and not I mean, it was not popular, right? I mean, even back in the day when 98 came out, there was an uptick in popularity or whatever, but nothing like it is now. I mean, it wasn't cool to be a fan of comic books or Godzilla or Transformers. Now it's easy to be a fan of that stuff, but back then it really kind of wasn't. And I just think that and it was so cool to hear that music playing.
Yeah, really cool.
And it kind of goes back to what was it? The year Haru Nakajima passed away. Like just seeing that, like him in the Memoriam, like that was a huge, I think, honor for a lot of us to see, because they only put, you know, the top people that have passed away, you know, into those kind of things and stuff like that, and to be mentioned, like, well, you actually get to see their picture and stuff like that, or a little bit of scene, you know, from their acting career or directing career or whatever. You know, I mean, even in this year's Memoriam, like they couldn't put everybody on there. They did only so many, and then after that, like it was just a big screen of just names. You know, even to see it years ago, to see him up there and get recognized, I think was a huge thing also, even though, you know, we weren't nominated for anything and stuff like that, but like just seeing that for them to acknowledge, you know, what he had done, spoke a lot and everything. And now, you know, transferring to this now, like this is just, it's insane. Like I'm just glad to see that Hollywood is starting to see and maybe open their eyes to more of these lesser known, maybe franchises or just other things that are not the norm, and maybe just actually like maybe consider them. Hey, this is actually really good, you know, instead of falling into the same thing over and over and over again. You know, let's actually, you know, spread it out. Like I understand, you know, the Japanese, like Elijah said, you know, they have their own Oscars, they have their own Academy Awards, you know, they recognize their own citizens, their own people, their own actors, actresses, you know, directors, they do all that stuff, and that's great and stuff like that. But it's different when, you know, internationally, you know, another country realizes and recognizes someone else's work, and it's like, hey, to us, this is the best, and I think it speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just a bad feedback. I agree, Eric. It's nice to see the recognition, you know, and that kind of goes to what I was saying of it, you know, not being popular or whatever back in the day, and just to see the recognition. You know, Godzilla is known, I think, to the general public as kind of like the cheesy foreign, you know, the lips don't match the dialogue, and you know,
oh my god,
the pun of all these jokes and stuff. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the Showa films, Heisei films, you know, they're goofy, and they have a lot of, they're not going to win for best acting or best script or anything like that. But I think that if people actually took the time to watch some of these films, and again, not all of them, but a decent amount of them, that they'd realize, oh, there's actually important messages in these films, you know, whether it's pollution or anti-nuclear war or, you know, just political, geopolitical rivalries, like in '84 with Russia and America, you know, like just seeing, there's a lot of stuff Godzilla has tackled. And I think that if people were to go into it with more of an open mind, they'd see that it's not just all, you know, cheesy rubber suited fighting or whatever. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of that in there, and that's why at the end of the day, I think we love it all so much. But there's a lot more to it, a lot more in depth to it than I think people give it credit for.
Yeah, and next to, aside from just the everything you mentioned, there's the artistry of it all. There's the practical effects and how much that they went into to create these sets and these explosions, and just the way that they go into. I mean, these are huge sets, huge suits. Just there's a lot that goes into it, and that's why, yes, as Eric said, when they mentioned Nakajima's passing in the Memoriam, that was a big deal, because that man went through hell and back to perform the King of the Monsters over the 15 years or the 12 years that he did it for, and it it is more than just campy suits and big rubber suits beating the crap out of each other. But we all love that anyway, so it doesn't really matter what other people think because they can't yuck my yum. I like that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think now they are definitely getting more into appreciating how much is going into that, especially with the visual effects win that we had at the Oscars. So they're like, oh, wait a minute, these guys actually put a lot into this stuff. It's incredible what they do. It's not just it's not just that. It is that, but it's not just that. And it's a monumental moment for us all as Godzilla fans that have been loving this. I mean, 70 years, baby. This guy did it. Finally.
Right.
Good for you.
And then what we haven't mentioned yet today, which is also incredible, is this movie had no advertising whatsoever. Everything this movie got was from word of mouth. I know all of us promoted the crap out of this movie, but there was no promotion overseas for this movie at all. Everybody just had to go word of mouth with everything, and that's what makes this achievement so much more incredible, because they did it without any advertising in the States or anywhere else in the world, as far as I know, whatsoever.
Yeah, it definitely it was definitely the premieres that I think really stirred up everything. Like once some of the premieres hit over here, like people were just, I mean, over the moon for this thing. Like, and like you said, yeah, it just spread like wildfire. Like, they're like, holy crap, like this is a really good, like it's a Godzilla movie, but it's a really good movie overall. Like there's more to it than just a giant monster. There's so much more to it. And yeah, it just spread, and it was, I love to see it because, you know, obviously if you're lucky enough, you get to go to a premiere, you know, and, you know, they only show, you know, maybe 100 people or so, maybe less. I don't know. Never been to one, but like seeing that and then like hearing about it, and then it just amped everybody else up because we're like, oh my God, I cannot wait to go. Hey, do you know about this movie? I mean, I know for a fact, I was telling other people who are not Godzilla fans about the movie. Hey, this is happening. You should go see it. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, it's just like any old Godzilla movie. I go, no, it's not. I haven't seen it. And I know like any other Godzilla movie. To me, so much different. I go, don't believe and think of that stuff. Go into it with a fresh mind and then see for yourself, you know, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
People didn't sleep on this one this time because it was supposed to only get about a week run in the United States. Remember when it came out December 1st, we were all like, oh man, we got a week to see this movie. That's all we got.
Yes,
we're like, okay, we better hurry. We all know that's not what happened. It picked up, it kept going, and it went strong. And not only that, they had a fun gimmick a little while later with Godzilla Minus Color, which was just unique and different to see. I didn't personally get to see that one, but still, I mean, come on. This thing rose from the depths just like Godzilla did, and it roared loud.
Yeah, like
pretty punny, huh?
Yeah, it pretty much did lasted for a week, but then all of a sudden it pretty much lasted for a whole month. Literally pretty much a whole month. And then of course Minus Color came out. Yeah, sometimes, you know, like you said, you weren't able to see it. I didn't get to see it as well, but like it was just really cool, you know, like not, you know, I'm just hoping, you know, for the next Japanese Godzilla film, who knows how many years it'll take to we get another film like this. I'm just happy that I'll you know, the past few months, you know, from Minus One, and of course, yeah, Godzilla X Kong coming out pretty soon, and then the Oscars and all the other crazy stuff that's going on. It's just really great, you know. Very happy to be alive around this time, you know, just doing and taking it all in, you know, not taking everything for granted, you know, just soaking it all in, just, you know, can't wait to see what else is going to come down in the future.
That's a very good point. I don't know what Elijah has scheduled for what we're supposed to talk about, but this is going to be a big deal in terms of a sequel, you would think, you know?
Yes.
I want to address something. Eric, I think you said it, or maybe Oscar, it was you. I'm sorry, I don't remember. About how this thing had no advertising budget. That is so true. Like it, and then I think we should all get to what Leslie said too. By the way, hi Leslie and Cecilia and Nathaniel and everybody else that's watching.
Yes, welcome.
this movie did not have TV spots. It wasn't in front of every movie in theaters. It was in a couple theater. It had a trailer in a couple theaters, but I mean, and for it doing that and going against Beyonce and was it Hunger Games?
Hunger Games, yeah.
Yeah, Hunger
Well,
Games.
and Napoleon,
And
Napoleon, yeah.
And Napoleon, and it ended up being, and we talked about this in our initial -1 stream. Check that out in the archives. But the fact that it was able to claw its way to number 3, and it had no advertising whatsoever. It was supposed to be in theaters for a week. It ended up being in theaters for 2 months. And the only reason why it got, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but apparently or allegedly, the only reason why it got left theaters when it did is because Toho and Legendary have it in their contract that they cannot compete with each other. And with Godzilla Kong coming out, Toho had to remove it. And I think that Toho probably would have left it in the theaters. And I wish that they would have, because I think that Oscar win would have bumped up its numbers a little bit more. I don't think it would have made another 100 million or anything like that, but it could have made a few more bucks. And so that's all. I mean, this movie, no matter how you dice it, is a win. I think it's a well-deserved win. It's one of the best Godzilla films that we've ever gotten. It's serious. It has great characters that you actually feel for, and it's emotional. It was made on a shoestring budget and looks phenomenal. I love the design of Godzilla. All things we've talked about, so I don't want to go too much on it. But for what it truly was, the little movie that could, or the little engine that could, and I think that it's. I mean, we should all be happy and celebrating.
Before we move on,
yes, sir.
I just want to piggyback on your thing. Is that
I'm
actually,
winging it, dude. I don't know what Elijah was going to.
No, that's fine. So actually, when you were talking about leaving the movie in and with the Oscar win boosting numbers,
yeah,
coincidentally, that's what happened in Japan.
Explain that. I'm sorry.
That's exactly what happened in Japan. So after the Oscar win. And all the Oscar wins, okay? The -1 was out of like the top 20 movies in Japan, okay? It got boosted all the way up to number 3 after their Oscar wins. And it gained 1,025% boost from where it was sitting after their win. So like there is a example of what could have happened if it were to stay in our theaters. It would have definitely gotten a boost because it did it in Japan. So like that's
amazing.
Exactly. Everybody's like, holy crap, it won an award.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Now. But yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's amazing. Yep. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it jumped that high. That's amazing. Yep. That's awesome. Yep. And there's people here in the States that live and die by the Oscars. Obviously not as much as I don't think the Oscars are as popular as they used to be 20 years ago or whatever, but there's still that niche group that will go out and purposely see everything that's nominated for an Oscar, and then there's also another group that'll go out and watch anything that they haven't seen that has won an Oscar. So even if you're talking about maybe another couple 100,000 people, that's an extra couple $1 million, So that's fascinating. Wow. Thank you for adding that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't either. That is just exponentially phenomenal to hear, because this means the world to a lot of us, or all of us here. Come on. So that's that just makes my nerdy heart so happy.
If nobody else has anything to add on this, I'm going to jump to what Leslie said.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Sure. Why not?
So Leslie has a comment. He says, great commentary, fellas. Thank you, Leslie. But can y'all address this ridiculous notion that some fans have that Godzilla Kong will somehow tarnish the Oscar win and success of -1? Or does it, in our opinion? Oscar, let's go to you first.
Yeah.
Heck no, I mean, like me personally, like, I don't think so. I mean, why would, I don't get why fans or non-fans or whatever would think like that. Like, come on, like obviously both films are completely different. Like, Minus One, very dark, serious tone film. Like you know, like very emotional, and of course Godzilla X Kong. That whole film right there. Shut your brain off. Sit down, relax, enjoy the damn movie with the popcorn and friends and everything. Like, just enjoy. You know, very different. Like, I don't see that. Like see that, like when it comes to like fans like that or non-fans like that, I just ignore it. Like, no, that's not. I'm still gonna enjoy the franchise for what it is, whether it's from 54 all the way up to now. I'm just like, nope, no negativity for me. If someone tells me this in person, okay, then I'll just explain it in my opinion. But right now, no. Minus One, great film overall. Godzilla X Kong, it hasn't come out yet, but I know it's gonna be a great film overall. Very, very opposite. And
All right. Samson?
That is an interesting comment to read because these are two totally different worlds, the MonsterVerse and the Japanese universe. So how can you compare like that? It just kind of it's so kind of just cornball to even compare like that. I'm like, all right, whatever. Oscar just said it. The MonsterVerse is a turn off your brain popcorn situation. Minus One is an emotionally driven, holy crap, this is amazing film. So yeah, how can X Kong Empire steal from no, it's no, not gonna happen. People can like what they like, that's okay, and that's why opinions are and they exist in this world, but it's come on, y'all gotta be more realistic.
yeah,
Come on.
Eric?
Oh boy.
You know what? Hang on. Actually, I'm going to go to Adrian because Eric, I know you and I are probably going to piggyback off each other quite a bit here. So, Adrian, go ahead.
My thoughts on this is honestly, I can see why some people are trying to say that, only because they feel like it would take with Godzilla X Kong's going to show that goofy side of Godzilla that everybody always think Godzilla is. But it shouldn't take anything away from Minus One because we've been having that in the franchise forever anyways. We'll have Godzilla versus Megalon 1 year, and we'll have Godzilla 1985 10, 12 years later. Like, that's just how this Godzilla series works. So, as I'm quoting Leslie, as always, sit down, shut up, and enjoy Godzilla, because all Godzilla is good Godzilla.
Boom.
yes.
BOOYAH, booyah.
Easy E.
I gotta try to keep this short here because
Oh God.
well, it's funny because we've talked about this personally and stuff like that, and I just don't understand it. There is something for everybody. There really is. Like, not everybody's the same, and we're not supposed to be. We are not supposed to like the same thing because that's not how we're made. We're not supposed to. But like, I was gonna say, and Adrian said it perfectly. Like, we have 54, we have Ibra, we have Monster Zero, we have Son of Godzilla. I mean, they are all in the same realm, and it's something for everybody. Like,
Godzilla's Revenge.
Yeah, Godzilla's Revenge is ridiculous, but like, it's there, and it's like, and everybody loves something different, and a reason why they love something different, or a reason why they love the movie, because either it hits something personally with them, or an experience, or whatever. Like, I just don't understand. Like, yeah, are the MonsterVerse movies the greatest things? No, they're not. And I'm the first to say that. Like, and that's okay.
We had a whole show about it.
Were some of the Showa and the Heisei films the greatest? No. We can still diss on them and stuff like that, but we still like them because they're still Godzilla movies. Like, I think we were talking about this before. Like, when you think of Godzilla, like, you think, to me, it brings me back to my childhood and how I was just immersed with seeing a giant monster fighting other giant monsters. Like, take your brain out of the equation and just think about, like, what first got you to enjoy Godzilla? You know, what made you a fan? Like, that's what it is. Like, as we get older, yeah, we start analyzing things more and more, and our likes change and our dislikes change, like, and all that stuff, and that's fine. But like saying that this one movie is going to tarnish what we just accomplished with another movie is ridiculous. And I don't see why that would tarnish it in any way, because there's different movies for different peoples, and there's different directors for different movies. It's all different. It's supposed to be that way. So I don't understand it. I don't understand the hate. Like I said, the MonsterVerse isn't the greatest. Yeah, it has its flaws. Yes. Does it have its pluses? Yes, absolutely. And I do like the MonsterVerse. Yeah, like I said, it's not the greatest, but I love it for some aspects and everything. So
I couldn't tell.
I think those people just need to like relax and stop over analyzing everything and just enjoy Godzilla that we have now, because like I said, we've talked about this before, that, you know, when we were kids, like, we went through a dark age of no Godzilla, and it's I mean, it really was like, I mean, there was nothing around, there was no movies, there was no figures, there was no merchandise, there was nothing going on, you know, and we were dying for anything Godzilla, and it took forever to get something. Honestly, not until Treadmasters hit, and then like the 98 film, and then maybe Godzilla was starting to kind of come around and stuff like that. People kind of were knowing about it.
2000.
Yeah, you know, then it, you know, just
kind of got the American release, so that was that was what boosted it a little more, but still.
It's like, yeah, I understand this isn't for everybody, but like it's for somebody, honestly. It might not be for you, but it might be for the next door neighbor. Like, yeah, and who cares? Let them like it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do you guys like this stuff?
Okay. You have to acknowledge the fact that this is just, we're getting Godzilla. So everybody keeps talking about this. We're getting Godzilla just because it's not in the form of a dramatic, I mean, like we got with -1, and thank God we did, but we're still getting Godzilla, and it's becoming popular, and kids are going to the fucking toy store and getting some toys that are what I've spent my whole life getting behind me. So it's a big deal. But weren't we talking about the Oscars? I forget.
Adrian, you brought up, I'm going to give my thing and then we'll jump back to -1. Adrian, you said something a few weeks ago that I've been saying a lot, and it's, you know, more Godzilla is best Godzilla. And Eric, you actually just said something that is perfect. The MonsterVerse may not be for you, but it's for somebody. And I think that's what's important. I agree with everything all of y'all have said, so I'm not going to reiterate a whole bunch. The only difference the only thing I will add is that if you think that the MonsterVerse is any more crazy or silly or whatever than the Showa series, you have blinders on. Because I would make the argument that so far, I don't know what Godzilla Kong the New Empire is going to be like, but so far, that the Showa series went way more wacky, way more crazy, way more, you know, sci-fi, unrealistic, you know, cheesy, corny, whatever, than anything we've gotten in the MonsterVerse so far. Godzilla did a flying drop kick. Godzilla literally flew. I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's. Come on, it's silly, and I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. I'm a big free speech guy. I think you should be able to say what you want to say. However, I think that if you are that fan that belittles somebody for liking what you don't like, specifically in this case the MonsterVerse, you're an asshole. Let them like that. You don't have to, and that's totally fine. But once you cross the line of that's not the real Godzilla, you don't like the real Godzilla, you know, you're not a real fan, or you have your buddies jump on this person or gang up on this person, screw you. That's stupid.
This isn't high school. Come on.
Exactly. You're in my opinion, you're the fake fan if you're bullying somebody for liking an aspect of Godzilla that you don't like, or using your clout in the fandom to do it. I think that's ridiculous, and I think that it's childish, and I think that you're wrong for doing it. And I don't mean anybody specifically, I mean in general, just for the record.
It's like
More and more all the time. I get made fun of constantly because I am not a Heisei fan. I don't really like. It's not my favorite. And people ride my ass about it because they're like, "Why not?" I'm like, I grew up with the goofy aspect of Godzilla, and that's why I love it so much. I think that's why I can appreciate the MonsterVerse for what it is. It's not the best fucking thing ever, but I love goofy stuff. And when somebody was saying there's a Godzilla for everyone, I blurted in and saying Godzilla's Revenge. I personally like that film. I have fun putting that on and turning my brain off and just watching a kid and Minya buddy, and then the Gabra fight scenes are fun. It's a lot of stock footage, but I still like the movie for what it is because it's stupid and good, and I can just enjoy it. And that's all I've ever done with the Godzilla fandom. I just enjoy it. I'm agnostic in most aspects of my life. So when everybody's saying the whole like political and Hollywood aspect of things, I don't pay attention to the Oscars and whatnot. I just like what I like, and that's how it works.
Exactly, what you said. Like with Godzilla 98, just for example, we like back then we all didn't like 98. Slowly we enjoy Godzilla 98 for what it is, whether it's a Godzilla film or just a monster film. I enjoy it for what it is. And yeah, with the MonsterVerse, the MonsterVerse is pretty much like the modern take of the Showa era. It's just very still silly on some occasions, but still fun to watch. And
and the kind of piggyback of what you were saying, Joe. I mean, from every Godzilla fan I've talked to, we all got bullied when we was kids for liking Godzilla. Why the fuck are we doing it to each other? That's so fucking ass backwards. We should be able to all love Godzilla no matter which Godzilla it is, whether it's 67 or 95. So again, it's still Godzilla. We should be able to respect everybody who loves Godzilla because we took enough of that bullshit growing up getting picked on for liking Godzilla.
Yeah. Yep. We've gone through it for how long, for how many years. We know how we felt. I mean, it was you felt like the outsider. You were shunned because you liked something crazy and ridiculous as Godzilla. I mean, my God, I used to hide my collection from people or never tell them that I was a Godzilla fan because I didn't want to get made fun of, stuff like that.
Can I tell you how hard it was to bring a girl over and my collection was in my room? Exactly. Let me tell you, I'm not even exaggerating or trying to be funny, but I had it up into my room. I would bring girlfriends over or just girls over, and they'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a fan." The first time my wife came over, I was still at my parents' house at the time, and this was many years ago when we were just dating. And she walked in, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what? She loved me for it, and now she goes to G Fest every year, and and it's a blast. But it was not. It's not, even though comic books weren't popular when we were kids, comic books were way better than being a fan of than like a Godzilla or a Ultraman or whatever,
Yes.
Maybe that's why I couldn't get women to come over, because I was very open about my Godzilla stuff.
I agree with Leslie right here. Honestly,
100%.
if you don't confront these people, they're gonna keep running their stupid mouths. So, and by the way, it's okay to like 98 too. Personally, when I was a kid, when I first saw 98, I liked it. I didn't think it was. I didn't necessarily like it as a Godzilla film, but I liked it as a monster film. But I was also 8 years old, or 9 years old. I didn't know that it wasn't truly Godzilla. And when I in those early days of the chat rooms and stuff, in the very, very early 2000s, when I would express that opinion, I got ridiculed by people that I now know, or not know, but like know of in this fandom, that are like senior citizens now, which means that they were grown ass men when they were bullying some 10-year-old kid on the internet and then chat for him. Like, you know, you're an asshole. Like, let people like what they like. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that 98 was not the Godzilla that carried the franchise. I didn't like that design for Godzilla or whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah. So
and Joe,
Elijah?
were you in a question earlier, right? Or no, it was already.
Oops, sorry, Eric.
Son's returned.
Hey,
Yeah,
I still get this. I still get this question now, and I'm 38 years old.
Yeah, same.
I still get it.
My my aunt and uncle and
figures.
my aunt and uncle and my cousins are significantly older than me. They live in Florida, and I only see them like, I don't know, once a year or whatever. And they'll be like, "Oh, you still like the Godzilla?" And I'm like, "You're 80 years old and still go to Disney. Like, you're gonna talk shit to me?" Yeah, like you wear Minnie Mouse ears and collect Disney stuff. You're gonna talk shit to me? Like, at a rock, I'd bust your head, bitch. I swear. Channeling my inner Bernie Mac. Elijah, well, we're just wrapping up.
So. Congratulations to -1.
Yeah.
Right. That's important right here, isn't it? Let's
Well, what's the conversation at hand? I've been listening while trying to.
We're kind of all over the place right now.
We wrapped up talking about the difference between -1 and Godzilla X Kong competing with each other and it just went off the rails.
It's going to be a drastic change.
Well, it is, because they're two completely different movies and two
This is
different.
true. One will be really
movies.
good. One will be really bad.
So you hate every Showa film, right, Elijah?
For the record, I have never once said I don't like how crazy things get. I have always said that my problem with the MonsterVerse comes from the lack of thought put into the actual films.
That's fair.
Because the beautiful thing about the Showa era is, like what Samson said, you can turn your brain off on Godzilla's Revenge and have good fun. But at the end of the day, Godzilla's Revenge is a metaphorical message on the constant urbanization of Japan and the family image at the time and what was going on with children, leading into the problems that occurred and is still very relevant to today, because Ichiro can represent every Godzilla fan ever when they were bullied for what they liked and what they did. So Godzilla's Revenge is exactly what we were just talking about. But it's still a ton of fun.
Having an acid trip.
I was just say, you just think of it as anti-bullying.
Yeah.
Instead of like super analyzing it like that. And you're like, oh yeah, that's talking about bullying. Or like, or for instance, Hedora. Oh, it's against pollution. Plain and simple. Like, we don't have to super analyze and go through this stuff and like, oh, this is why this is and this is and this is, and or this is why this isn't good or this isn't good. No, you could just, like you said, turn your brain off and just watch the movie.
Yeah.
But
sometimes it is actually really nice to sit down and watch a movie and not be lectured to about what you have to think or how you have to vote or how you have to feel about something. Sometimes life is really, 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 really hard and stressful, and it's frustrating and it's full of anxiety. And sometimes it's really nice to turn something on and to escape the real world for an hour and a half. 2 hours.
Yep.
That's what it was for me. Godzilla's been a security blanket for my whole life.
Yep. All right, Elijah, get us back on track.
Yeah, we were talking about
because I didn't know you didn't send any of your notes to help a brother out. So,
we were talking about all the wins in Japan, and then you cut off.
yeah, you. Thank you for being here for 6 minutes of this hour-long video so far.
You're welcome. Well, the thing I was actually finishing up was this was the first film to be nominated for Best Visual Effects, and the winner be the director of the film.
Yeah.
The first time that had happened was in 1968 with 2001's A Space Odyssey, where Stanley Kubrick was credited as director of VFX and the director, and I think writer. And now Yamazaki marks the second to do that. So that's pretty exciting. Yet more in the history books. And I do want to bring up what you guys talked about how like the Ifukube track has now been played in front of millions and millions. Da 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 da. You know.
Do you think that like when people heard it, do you think they're like, "What is this?" Like, do you think they had?
I don't know.
Idea?
I mean,
I don't know. That's a great question.
It's of course, in my household, that is a very familiar. People hum, and that's happens all the damn time. But
yeah,
to
but
the
average Joe,
the audience,
been like, what is this?
Can I actually?
What is that?
This is a great time to interject this. The only thing I wish like they would have done, because like they read off all like the movies that were nominated, and Godzilla Minus One did get the biggest applause out of all the ones that were nominated. It would have been cool if Arnold was like, and the winner is, and then there was like a silence, and then it was just Godzilla's roar. Like that, I know that would not have happened. I know that it's the Oscars. I get it. But it just would have been so great if it's like, and the winner is, and then you just hear scream, like, that would have been so cool.
You know what? I don't know. I really thought about this too. They would have been cool. Like, there was a guy in a Godzilla suit coming out, from the back, and, also receiving one of the Oscars, I don't know, because, I thought that would have been pretty cool as well. But Joe, I like yours way better. Hearing Godzilla's roar in the big loudspeakers and everything, scaring the crap out of people, but also getting up out of excitement. Oh my god! But I also like it was pretty cool when they were on stage. You could hear somebody saying "Godzilla."
I was gonna say, there's that one guy in the background. It is really loud. I'm sure it was one of the team that was still in the audience. It had to be.
Of course it was.
Oh yeah.
Something that's also important to note here, and this kind of goes back to our whole thing about the Showa era and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, how novel is it that Godzilla Minus One wins the award for Best Visual Effects? A category that the franchise has been made fun of for decades.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. The special effects, the visual for everything, the suits and the explosions and everything come on. That's as an adult, I appreciate that. Sorry, I just kind of totally took over. But that's when you watch these old films, how much they put into it, it's phenomenal. And it is kind of astronomical. There's a lot that goes into these sets. I mean, there's the timing and the stunt work and just everything. I know we're talking visual effects, but there wasn't so much of the guys in suits bashing each other. But still, you have to appreciate the art of the Godzilla franchise. It is very important that makes these movies what they are.
Now this is something to put into perspective. So the Academy Awards, the first year that they did any special effects awards was 1938, where they had the Special Achievement Award for special effects. And then after that, they implemented in 1939 Best Special Effects, which was both visual and audio effects. And it was that way until the 70s. But in 1954, the film that won the award for Best Special Effects was Disney's 2000 Leagues Under the Sea. However, the runner-up was them.
Really?
Oh, which one's them? Is that the big ant or the big
the giant ants? Yes,
ants. Yeah.
So when you think about that, them got the nomination. They only did 2 noms at the time, so it was that one or 20,000 Leagues. When you think about that, and then you put into perspective, okay, so what about 54? Let's compare them, a movie about radioactive ants attacking the world, and a movie about a radioactive dinosaur attacking Japan. When you think about the fact that 54 didn't get that nom, that it didn't even get acknowledged at the time, yet them did. It really puts into perspective. Another film that came out that year that was actually very important to Suitmation was Creature from the Black Lagoon. That came out in 50.
Oh no, we're losing him again.
Oh no! As he's on a roll.
Okay, there he is. He's blowing.
No.
No.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Hold up. He's just in the back here. Okay, you good?
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Okay, I can't. My screen's now like black. I don't know what's going on. So
Just go with it.
No, you look good. Come on, go.
No, God.
Damn it.
Hey, we're good.
Okay.
Somebody give this guy some good damn internet.
We're good.
He's back. He's back.
Okay.
Yeah, you're here. We think.
okay, if I'm here for a limited time, I want to say I hate Spectrum Internet, and that's the last thing I want to say. I never show up.
Really? That's what I use.
Oh, no.
Oh, fuck.
He goes, I hate Spectrum Internet, and it kicked
And
him
he's
off.
Maybe you shouldn't say that out loud, buddy. They're listening. No, he's back. Just stop moving us around, and maybe we'll be okay.
Oh, God.
Am I here?
Say something.
Yes,
you're here. Good.
It's. Oh wait, I'm back.
Sorry, everybody.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
I know.
Yeah,
You're talking about. You said them in 1954 and
Creature
Creature
from the
of
Black
the Lagoon
Lagoon.
also came out that same year as well.
Creature. That was the last thing you said. Yeah.
So it's interesting to note that those are the films that came out, and them and 20,000 Leagues were the ones that got the nom and win. Even as you continue through time, like in 1964, you had Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and Mothra versus Godzilla. The film that got nominated with another giant monster movie was The Seven Faces of Dr. Leo, which has a little plesiosaur in it. But it's very interesting to notice that like the films that are winning, I feel like you could make an argument for some of these other kaiju films.
Yeah.
Now, another fun fact about the Academy Awards is in 1970, the film that won the awards was Tora, Tora, Tora. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, that is a co-production between Toei and 20th Century Fox. And it was co-directed by Toshio Matsuda, director of Prophecies of Nostradamus, and Kenji Fukasaku, who did The Green Slime, the Legend of the Eight Samurai, Battle Royale, all that good stuff. And Akira Kurosawa actually worked on it for 2 weeks before he quit. But that did win special effects, but the effects department was not. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! What? You're still here?
Well, says my computer's about to restart.
Oh my
Oh
god!
no! Oh no! No! I can't stop it.
Finish your thought. Oh, and he's gone.
Oh.
Hold up. He's still here.
Am I here?
Yep.
Yeah.
You seem.
Oh, I'm gonna just wrap up everything. King Kong won it twice, almost won it 3 times. Kong Skull Island got nominated, and Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah appeared in that. So technically, they had a nom in 2017, and Mecha Godzilla got a nom in 2018 for Ready Player One.
Wow.
Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah showed up in what?
Kong Skull Island.
And
It got
Skull
nominated for
Credit.
Best VFX in 2017.
The after credit scene.
Oh, okay.
That's. I mean, it was very short, but that's all. So.
And then King Kong won it in 76 and 05. 76 actually won like 3 Academy Awards.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Huh.
Best score, best cinematography, and best special effects.
I'm not mad about that. I'll take that. It's my favorite King Kong movie. Second favorite King Kong
That's
movie.
leading ladies. God
Real
damn.
quick before you get booted again, Elijah, where are you going after this so we can steer the ship since you.
Well, I was going to talk about how Godzilla has actually almost been to the Oscars a couple of times prior, in 1998 and in 2014 and in 2021. All three of those films made the short list for Best Special Effects, but did not make it past that.
We'll start with 98.
Oh, wait. Okay, it's not going to kick me off. Hi, everybody, I'm back. I was like, my minutes
This
probably
stream's a
up.
train wreck, everybody. Sorry.
Blame Spectrum Internet.
Technical difficulties.
Gotta love.
So 1998 did get shortlisted for Best Special Effects. So we could have lived in a world where that film went all the way to the Oscars. Granted, Godzilla did appear later on in an animated sequence for the opening, about a decade later, with King Kong, I should add. But at one point, we could have seen 98 get an Oscar nom. So how would that have affected things, you guys think?
That's an interesting topic, because it's like, it's universally known to us fans that's not, we don't really like to categorize it as a Godzilla film. But if it had gained popularity and the name Godzilla was put out there in the Oscars in 1998, I don't know how that could have changed things, because would we have even gotten a Godzilla 2000? Would we have gotten a sequel to Godzilla 98? There's so many elements to that it's really hard to predict that. It's fantasy for sure, but I mean, I like the history. I like the road that we went down already. What we got is pretty great, but that is an interesting that's an interesting observation. In fact, I didn't know that. So cool question mark.
It definitely would have been interesting, considering that arguably the most disliked Godzilla film would have won an Oscar, that would have been interesting for sure. But I mean, I don't think the visual effects of the film were shitty for the time.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, honestly, no.
I didn't even mind the story. I think honestly, everyone's biggest complaint was Godzilla's design and how he died. I think if you removed those two aspects, I think I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. In fact, I've even made the argument, I don't remember if it was on Monsters with Attitude, that I think that the first 30 minutes of 98 does a better job of setting up Godzilla than 2014.
They definitely.
I never thought of comparing the two. Yeah. Huh.
Well, I mean, just the fact that, I liked the nuclear reactor part for sure, but that's only like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes of 2014, and then it jumps into, and then you come to find out that's not even Godzilla. It's the Muto.
I was just gonna say that's not even Godzilla. That's Muto's origin.
Right, but you don't know that at the time, right? Yeah. Like that's where I'm going at. But like 98 with the storm out in the water, the boat's getting pulled under, the fishing boat washing up on shore with the giant claw mark in it, the footprints, the army and scientists searching for a guy that's an expert in nuclear radiation is enlarging species, and he's like, what do I have to do with it? I'm the worm guy, like whatever. It's like, yeah, and the whole line of like, oh, they're 17% bigger or whatever the hell it was, and it's like, yeah, that's why you're here. And the pieces coming together of like, if you follow the trajectory, he's going to New York, and they're like, what is it? Oh, it's an allosaur, it's a tyrannosaur, it's a blah 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 blah. No, it's a whole new species. We're looking at the dawn of a new species. Like that whole setup, I think is fantastic.
Honestly, it is.
That
It really is.
suspense and the little teases of, like I said, the boat's getting pulled under and the claw mark, of the boat on shore and the footsteps, and they're following this thing, but you're like, what is it? I think it's.
I've never really deep dived 98 like that, but you make a damn good point. It does set up with a very suspenseful and engaging.
Yeah, and even Godzilla's first appearance, like I would say, is arguably better than 2014 because we actually got to see stuff. In 2014, he roared. We got, after 45 minutes of waiting, he showed up and he roared. He was on screen for 15 seconds, right?
Yeah, we saw him on the news. We saw him on the news. That was important.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, it's fine.
But -1 won an Oscar. Woo! I'm getting sidetracked again.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, I mean, love talking about this stuff. Well,
I definitely think that -1 is the Godzilla movie outside of the original and maybe 84 that is the one that deserved to win.
Yeah.
Yes.
More, probably more than Shin, but I mean, look, 54, 84, Shin, and -1. Those are the four that I would have. If any one of them won, I would have been okay with. But Shin probably would have been last on that list. But yeah, I'm happy with it. -1 deserved to win. You could feel and you could see the love, the respect, and most importantly, the passion that went into this film.
And even last year when we first started talking about -1 and everything, my bold prediction was this was going to be probably one of the most important Godzilla movies that we ever gotten, and here today.
Yeah. Especially if this is the start of the new franchise, because there's been those interviews where Yamazaki and even some fans have speculated, okay, we've gotten 2 solo Godzilla films back to back. Toho probably isn't going to want to do a third. Like, they're probably going to now start to be like, let's do this World of Godzilla. Let's do this our own Monsterverse, or the Toho-verse, if you will. And I think that's I think it's for the best. I really do. I think that they should use -1 as the stepping stone into the next franchise, because they don't have to make it obviously it's going to be a direct sequel, but they don't have to make it this takes place in a month after the first one. They could say, hey, this is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50, 70, 100 years in the future.
They could. See, I to kind of go off of what you said there, Joe. I remember, and you too, Adrian. I remember back when we could finally start talking about the film and whatnot. I think I was on the phone with Eric. I think you were there, and maybe Joe, maybe I don't remember. But I know you were there, Eric. And I was kind of breaking down kind of the whole thought of like, this is going to take place directly after the war and whatnot. And I remember you, especially Eric, were talking about how exciting it was to like have what would probably be the biggest and most important Godzilla film since the original, just due to the fact that it would touch on the things that Honda wanted to touch on. And in my deep dive into the director, I noted that both of them have worked on World War II films about similar topics, whether it be Zero Pilots or Admiral Yamato, and war in the Pacific and all of that. And now we have somebody who not only understands World War II, has a love for it, but also has nostalgia for the Showa era, talking about how much he loves the Showa era. So that was something that, like, as time went on, I think everybody started to get onto the same like line of thought of, okay, this is big, this is important. And then not only that, but like you were talking about, Joe, like having him do a sequel. I'm more in the camp of, let's do a trilogy. Let's do a trilogy of Yamazaki produced Godzilla films.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
And then after that, let's reboot again. Let's do something new, something more IP franchisey. I don't think Yamazaki's will. I mean, Yamazaki right now, he is 60 years old. He can't do a 15-year franchise.
No.
He's probably got maybe 10 more films left in him. If you want to look, like, since he started directing in 2000, he's only made, I want to say, about 12 live action films. And that's been 24 years. So every 2 years or so, he makes a new live action film. So, like Leslie just said here about Showa 2.0, more period pieces. I would love to see just a continuation of, like, 10 years later, Godzilla Minus 2, then the third film. I propose the idea of post-World War, 70 Expo or the Olympics, the 64 Olympics, and then like Cold War, like early to mid 80s. That way we have a Godzilla from the three important, like, eras of the Showa period for Japan before Heisei began in 1989.
I just had an interesting thought. Minus 2 needs to have 2 monsters. Minus 1 had 1 big ass monster. Minus 2 needs to have 2 big ass problems.
And Yamazaki has
Rodan.
What, Joe?
My money's on Rodan.
Rodan.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah, let's not just remake it again. Let's
because Rodan was in the ride.
Yep.
That Yamazaki.
Yeah.
And we've honestly never gotten a Godzilla versus Rodan film.
No,
not really. The closest thing to that was Ghidra, the three-headed monster. That's like the only Godzilla versus Rodan fight that exists.
Yeah.
I would prefer an original, like a new Yamazaki kaiju.
I wouldn't be mad about that either, honestly.
I would not. No, more kaiju, more hell yeah. Just no issues there.
Yep.
Now, I do also, and Eric, I think you were the one that said this, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. If Minus One sweeps the Japanese Academy Awards, and if Minus One wins an Oscar, that makes it, like, that leaves it so what? Why would Toho say no? Why would Toho say no?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason. It's the highest grossing Japanese film since 2019. Highest grossing live action film, or highest grossing live action Japanese film since 2019. Highest grossing live action film of 2023, top 5. It is predicted right now to be the 10th highest grossing Godzilla film. It is the first Godzilla movie since Shin Godzilla, and besides that, the only Godzilla movie to cross 6 billion yen at the box office. It passed 100 million at the international box office. And the list just continues of records it's beaten, awards it's won. It is the perfect Godzilla film to jump off and say, hey, and I'm not going to throw shade at the MonsterVerse here like I normally would, but hey, here is the Japanese Godzilla. Please enjoy.
I agree.
Are we going to talk about the awesome drip that all the people were showing when they came into the Oscars on the red carpet? We can talk about that. Come on, that's notable.
I mean, Eric has one right there, so mine's in the mail.
Them, when I saw the picture of their heels,
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. Just their heels being cradled by a big claw. it gives me ideas. My boss told me, because I showed him the picture and he thought it was cool. He's like, you need to get like a 3D printed one of those to cradle your microphone on your stand or something, so that you have like a claw holding your microphone in front of you for your stuff. And them just having the figures, and then when you get the close up, the one of them had the little bow tie, the golden one that he was holding had a bow tie. I mean, they were representing, and I thought that was just nerdy and glorious in the best way possible.
Oh yeah.
Well, before we wrap things up here, does anybody else want to bring up anything? Want to talk about anything?
I wonder why you gone, Elijah. To be honest.
Yeah, Godzilla related. I think we're all on the same page that we're happy, we're proud, and we should be. And honestly, kudos to Toho and Yamazaki and his team, but also I think that all of us fans deserve some recognition as well for keeping this franchise alive during the dark times.
Mm-hmm.
For 70 years.
I mean, it's honestly, like, I think the awards that they won, especially like the Academy Award, like, honestly, I think we all can agree that like this is kind of all like our award.
Yeah.
This is something like we talked about earlier. Like it's stuff that we went through as kids. It's stuff that we went through as teenagers, as adults. Like we've been repping this stuff since we were, super, super young, buying whatever we can, watching whatever we can, getting our hands on anything that we can. And it's just very satisfying to know that we are recognized as a franchise, that, there are good Godzilla movies, even though we already know that, we love everything about Godzilla and everything. But like now the world knows that, we are recognized as like doing something spectacular. I mean, and minus the Oscar, like just the box office alone, like for it being here for that short time, like just seeing that and how much of a craze and just a boom it went through, like that was amazing. Like we've never seen that at all, from especially a Toho Godzilla film. So I mean, yeah, we get that because of the MonsterVerse. Yeah, we get that. We get hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever and stuff like that. But as an international film, it's crazy. So to me, it might seem weird, but like to me, it's like, my award that we won, and I'm gonna cherish it honestly, and just say that Godzilla has an Oscar. It doesn't matter what category it was, they have an Oscar, and that's all.
Because he finally has an Oscar. Godzilla has a damn star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. If I'm saying that right.
Yep. Since 2004.
A citizenship award in Japan a few years ago. I could be wrong, something like that. And like, what other achievements has Godzilla not?
He's the ambassador of tourism or something. Well, yeah. So that's it's so many things.
Oh yeah, and of course, like allegedly you said, 98 was close to being nominated for an Oscar, and of course 2014, and you said 2021, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. Like, okay, yeah, Godzilla 98. If it were to win an Oscar, a lot of people didn't like the film, but at least there was a character. At least it got nominated or won an Oscar. 2014, that would have been really cool too. And 2021, of course, 2021. I mean, come on, like it. It would have been really cool. But yeah, Minus One. Huge congratulations to Minus One, of course. Yeah, it would have been cool to have more than one Oscar to have won, but still, at least it won an Oscar. It just takes one to make everyone notice, like you or it. Like, come on. I just love this stuff, man. Can't wait to see what down the pipeline. Like, man.
One more thing that I wanted to talk about was his speech that he gave on stage.
Yes.
It was hard to understand for a lot of folks, maybe because of his accent, but I do have it transcribed here because it's been transcribed and people have seen it online since then. But I'll go quick. My career began 40 years ago after the shock of seeing Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. To someone so far from Hollywood, even the possibility of standing on this stage seemed out of reach. the moment we were nominated, we felt like Rocky Balboa welcomed into the ring as equals by our biggest rivals, which was already a miracle. Here we stand. To all the VFX artists out there, Hollywood was listening. And this award is proof that everyone has a chance. Finally, on behalf of the cast and crew of Godzilla Minus One, I want to tell our producer, Shuji Abe, excuse my pronunciation if that's wrong, who we lost too soon. We did it. Thank you so much. Crowd up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was
chills.
Yeah,
Seriously.
dude, I got it right now. Just reading that shit.
I got chills right now dude, when you read that shit, man. No joke.
It's my mom said that was reactions. I hate that I didn't record mine. I really hate it because I watched it with my mom. She jumped up and down. She cheered. She said, I mean, she was so happy. I was happy. And then moments later, she went, Sam, I have chills. And that made me just happy for her because she plays a big, important role in the fandom for me. So that's, it was awesome. I hate that.
And just him just trying to read it in English.
That was really
like
meaningful.
That means a lot. Like, he didn't try to go for a translator or anything like that. It was him trying to do it, from the heart and just how he felt, and just appreciate that, man, a lot.
Oh yeah.
I wish they didn't do that stupid thing with the "you're taking too long to read your speech" music. I
know it sucked.
Give him a break. He was doing his damnedest.
So we do have one last thing, right?
So before we get off the stream, just want to take a minute. I know a lot of us on here have talked about it in the last week or so, and talked about it privately and stuff like that. Obviously, the world knows now, but that a very influential person passed away not too long ago, especially to a lot of us, especially to our childhoods and everything like that. And I just wanted to kind of give a, shout out or just a moment of
Recognition.
Recognition and acknowledgement of Akira Toriyama, who passed away recently. It was kind of a big blow for a lot of us. Like I said, this guy made, I think, a franchise and an anime that basically made anime popular and put it on the map, honestly, and really kind of shaped how I watch anime now, because honestly, this was the first anime I ever watched, and it got me into anime, and it was just a big thing, especially when I was a kid and stuff like that. Like, I watched this thing religiously. I would go out and buy the VHSs, every couple months, and they were like $30 a pop. They were ridiculously priced, but I didn't care because I needed to see the next episodes to Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So, like, it was kind of a big blow, for him to pass away and stuff like that. And, he was only 68 years old, was still way too young. And when you guys kind of say some thoughts or whatever on Akira Toriyama. Adrian, you go.
So, as much as I love Godzilla, the biggest fan I have is for Godzilla. I know Dragon Ball Z way more in depth than Godzilla. That's only just because of how special this franchise is. Dragon Ball Z Godzilla was my childhood, but Dragon Ball Z was my was what got me to being an adolescence, and the stories, everything that happened in Dragon Ball Z, that and all the lessons I've learned from Akira Toriyama's stories, it's honestly been life changing. As cliche as that sounds, he really has been a big impact on my life, and the stories of Dragon Ball has always been a big impact on my life. And may he rest in power, and I always love Dragon Ball Z forever.
Yeah. Oscar?
Yeah, like, man, he's hearing about this news, it sucks because not too long ago we lost Satsuma, and now Toriyama. I'm like, damn, this really hits on the feels. Like what you said, Adrian, like Godzilla was from my childhood, but like around my teenager high school years, it was all about Dragon Ball Z. Listen to like these monologues from Vegeta, Goku, and everything, and of course the music too, and and to pump me up on working out and everything. And when Toriyama, like this man put, like you said, anime like put on the map for everyone to enjoy. It's like it's just crazy. Like it just really hit me hard and everything. I'm like, man, I cannot believe this. Like this man did gave us Godzilla was a big piece of our part of our childhood, but also Goku, Vegeta, and Dragon Ball Z, also a big part of our childhood or teenage years. Like it's just sad and it just sucks too. Like man, oh man, and we were even just talking about bits of Dragon Ball Z throughout this past week or so. And, man, this sucks. But rest in peace to the man, the myth, and man, yeah, it's I'm just gonna still keep on loving Dragon Ball Z, GT, Dragon Ball, and Super, Dragon Ball Z Kai, whatever. I'm just gonna enjoy everything until the end of time.
Absolutely. Samson?
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. It was not something I got to watch as prominently growing up because my parents had like a beef with it, like a lot of parents did. That's why it was on Adult Swim, which is ridiculous because it's like, no, you can watch giant monsters beat the crap out of each other, but no, you can't watch human beings beat each other up. That's not right. No, every chance I got, I'd sneak around, especially at my grandparents' house because they weren't paying attention. I'd stay up late and watch Dragon Ball Z on Adult Swim, and as everybody's mentioning, it was kind of a lot of our teenagehood because it was the early 2000s when Adult Swim. I don't know how long they had it on for, but that's where you could basically see it, and every kid in America could see it. That's how it was more readily available for American kids, and so it was part of our teenagehood. And I've gotten into it more in my adulthood now. I'm still slowly going through everything. I just got through the Saiyan saga recently, and I'm into the Cell saga, the Namek saga, and Frieza. So it's awesome. There's a lot of very important messages in the Dragon Ball series, and it's a secondary hobby or interest that I have no problem saying that I have had kind of back and forth. It's Godzilla and Dragon Ball Z they play a big role in a lot of. I don't know what I'm saying now because I'm kind of like slightly getting emotional. So I'm going to move on to somebody else next. Come on, somebody else talk.
All right, Elijah, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I mean, as an artist, he did a lot for the world of pop culture, for Japanese culture, for the world. I know Dragon Ball is one of the most influential, one of the most popular anime and manga franchises of all time. I know that it has its roots in a story called Journey to the West. And it's based on a lot of culture in of itself, and it's nice to see in the modern world being able to see something like that brought to modern eyes and it's in its own special way. And I think this is a huge loss for not only the manga and anime world, but just pop culture and artists around the world. I think this is a huge loss because of his huge contributions to the world and everything that he helped create and everything that he will impact. He may be gone, but his legacy will live on for decades and centuries to come, especially with stuff like Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Joe.
So there's nothing else I can say that you guys all haven't said, except for I'm going to keep this simple and sweet and say that when it comes to the world of manga and anime, Akira Toriyama was second to none. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. Now listen to me, boys. Always remember these words: work hard, study well, eat and sleep plenty, and that is the Turtle Hermit way.
Amen to that.
All right, Elijah, close us out.
Well, are we moving on to the last and most noblest of streaming traditions?
We are.
Yeah.
The shameless but most noblest of self promotions. Oscar, do you want to get us started?
Well, of course, you guys. I don't have, I have I do all my streams on Facebook Live and the Monsters with Attitude Facebook group. I do, from Friday or Saturday, 5 or 7 o'clock at night, and this stream I'm going to do crossovers. My top 10 and 5 honorable crossovers I would love to have in for the Godzilla franchise with any other ones, like with Pacific Rim, Dragon Ball Z, Yasha, whatever. Any crossovers I would love to have or whatever, And let's see. Of course, you guys can just follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and and of course, Monsterverse Maniacs. Still loving each. And also, I would like to thank each and every one of you guys for the many well wishes for my dad, who's right now. I really do love and appreciate that, and he is very grateful for you guys as well. Really, thank y'all very much.
Absolutely,
for one of you.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely, man.
Samson, do you want to go?
Shameless plug for myself. Well, Samson West on YouTube is something that I've been doing since 2011, kind of. I have not touched it as often as I would like to. Twitch is my main fun thing that I love to do now, as the title says underneath my actual name. Samzilla streams on Twitch because somebody else apparently has my name. Bastard. But I'm Samzilla streams on Twitch. I love to play games. I love to chat. I love to goof around. I do movie viewings, watch parties and stuff. But it's like my main hobby platform other than coming on here with all these gracious and glorious fellows here, my kaiju boys and girls that I have known and grown and loved over the past couple of years. So I'm going to get back into reviewing. I can't not. I've changed my background. I'm proud of it. I like it. I have something that I'm actually would love to start reviewing with my cool display now. And
room tour.
I know. I have a fancy schmancy device for that my boss is going to let me play with. I am going to be doing the room tour with this fancy schmancy little gimbal. So I have a new little Steadicam that I will do an entire collection video.
Cool.
Soon.
All right.
Joe, you want to go?
Sure. You guys can find all my reviews and things of that nature over at Married to Kaiju on YouTube, where I am the rudest, crudest way you will see Godzilla, Power Rangers, and other Toku properties reviewed, unboxed, and ultimately collected. I say rudest, crudest way because I don't edit, I don't know how to edit, and I don't have the time to learn how to edit. So it's all a one shot, one take. What you see is what you get. But I got a lot of cool shit. So check me out there. Make sure you subscribe and all that fun stuff. And then obviously at the Monsters with Attitude Facebook group and YouTube channel, where we do fun videos like this, where we just all jump on and chat it up. So, yep, that's it.
Eric, do you want to go?
Sure. You can follow me on YouTube, Bearded Kaiju's Unboxing Reviews. I review Godzilla toys, all sorts of Godzilla shit, basically. We are working our way up to 800 subscribers. We just crossed the 700 mark. So at 800, I'm doing my next giveaway. So please go subscribe to the channel and share, and hopefully you enjoy my content and stuff like that. And of course, you get to see me with these bunch of fine men at least once a month, if not more. We might do some more of these shows every month and stuff like that. Would be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, check me out there. Check me on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. And of course, follow us on all of the Monster with Attitude platforms as well.
Yeah, we got more. Y'all. We got more.
Before I hand this off to the last person, I'm going to jump in here. Hi, my name is Elijah, and I have a Kaiju and Tokusatsu problem. I am.
Oh wait, let me time this one and go.
Joking aside, I am Elijah Thomas. I co-host the podcast Kaiju Conversation with my co-host and good friend Rex. We cover the wide world of tokusatsu and kaiju and giant monsters and henshinmen and J-horror. You can find us on any podcast platform. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter at kaiju_converse on any of those sites. I'm also a writer. I've written for GodzillaMovies.com, and I've appeared in Kaiju Ramen Magazine. Currently, I write for Kaiju United. My most recent article is about distribution and how that happens in the international markets. My writing has also been featured in the book Giant Bug Cinema, a Monster Kid's Guide from Bear Manor Media, where I wrote about Ghidra, the three-headed monster. Outside of writing and podcasting, I have also served as a consultant on the upcoming Titanic Creations figure for Yonguri. It's officially licensed. It's an articulated figure. More information should be coming out at the end of this month, so stay tuned for that. You can go over to TitanicCreations.com, sign up for emails or text message alerts for that. I've also had the privilege to produce bonus features for SRS Cinema. My last project was on Yuzo, the Biggest Battle in Tokyo, a kaiju movie directed by Ultraman Saga, Godzilla Final Wars, and Ultraman Ginga director Yoshikazu Ishii. I did an audio commentary for the film, and I produced some other bonus features with more in the works. So stay tuned for more on that. I'm also a filmmaker and YouTuber. You can check out my stuff on my YouTube channel, ET13 Productions, where you can see some of my short films and older videos that I've done, along with the ever-growing playlist of appearances that I've been on. I've also appeared in a kaiju movie. I appeared in the movie Zillafoot from 2021. I played the role of Skywatcher number 2. You can check it out. You can buy the Blu-ray or DVD on srscinema.com, or you can watch it for free on Tubi or on Amazon Prime. To follow me on that account, you can go to Instagram or Twitter under the handle ET13_productions, or you can follow me. And that's all I'm going to do here. So I'm going to hand this over to the founder of MWA, the man, myth, the legend.
That's it, Elijah? What?
15 seconds, 91 milliseconds.
How long?
2 minutes, 14.91 milliseconds. Right, so.
Oh, that's a record, huh?
Way too long.
It is.
just over 2 minutes. If you can do it in 2 minutes, that's your speed running record. I want to see it happen. I want to see it under 2 minutes, and let's see if we can make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Shit, man. Speed running's fun. Everybody, I do it. It's fun.
I'm going to hand this over to the man that brought us all together, Mr. Adrian, founder of MWA, to wrap this up for us.
What's up, Kaiju family? Of course, y'all know I've been on a hiatus for a little bit, but I need to get back to making videos. So pretty soon here, I'm going to be doing the comparison / review of the W Dragon Godzilla 2000 and the X Plus Super Godzilla 2000 as well. I'm very excited to do the comparison with those two, and let's see which one is better. Of course, with Monsters of Attitude, this Saturday, our lovely host, Mr. Samson West, will be tackling the 50th anniversary of our favorite mechanical beast, the cosmic monster, the bionic monster himself, Mecha Godzilla. Definitely one of my favorite short films. I cannot wait to talk about this movie. I know Samson has. I'm pretty sure Samson has something planned for this show. I know he's excited for this. This is one of his favorite movies as well. And of course, we also want to make sure. Of course, you can also follow me on my Instagram, Godzilla1090, for my photography, which I will be posting some photos on Saturday, actually. And last but not least, of course, follow us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and I think that's everything, because on Twitch, me, Eric, and Samson will actually be diving into Halo Reach pretty soon. We haven't made an exact date when that's going to be, but you heard me and Samson on Twitch before. It's going to get pretty fucking wild. I'm sure Eric's going to add more chaos to that.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be me and the Kaiju boys gaming.
All right.
I think that's it.
And
All right.
We're going to wrap it up here. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for jumping in the comments. For anybody watching the VOD, thank you for coming back and watching this and dealing with the technical difficulties that plagued this entire stream. My apologies. And with that, we're going to wrap things up here. So thank you guys so much. And remember to keep... What were you going to say, Samson?
I was just going to say we got to embrace the attitude.